We're here at Munro Associates in Auburn Hills, Michigan, right in the heart of Legacy Auto. And we're here to celebrate 35 years in business with Sandy Munro and his incredible team. We're so excited to bring you inside and show you everything from the Cybertruck torn apart from the Teardown Titan himself, Sandy Munro. Let's get inside and check it out. Guys, behind me here is the Rivian R1T. This is the 2022 model year that Munro Associates tore apart here in Auburn Hills, Michigan, in this beautiful facility. Big shout out to RJ and the team at Rivian. They have designed a beautiful, innovative, safe pickup truck that is proving itself in the marketplace. Look at the size of this front trunk here. One of the things you'll notice are these silver dots that are all over this. And what that allows Munro Associates to do is three-dimensionally scan each and every piece so they can build it into their software and further analyze each component of the vehicle. It's an incredible design, the Rivian R1T. I'm a huge fan personally. We got an opportunity to drive the vehicle at Rivian's first retail location out in British Columbia not that long ago. So make sure you check out that video. I'll put a link for it up in the corner right here. In its torn down format, you can see on the back of the Rivian R1T the opening for the gear tunnel. That's a huge innovation that we've never seen in a pickup truck before. And in this torn down state, you can really get a good idea of the architecture and the design and the thoughtfulness that went into the vehicle. You see, everybody looks at a car in its finished state, you know, when it's driving down the road or sitting on the car lot, and they kind of see that very beautiful skin and the design and the styling and all that sort of thing. But let's pause for a second and think about what's underneath the skin. What about all the engineering that goes into things like safety, economy, performance, crash testing, and all that good stuff that's underneath the skin? It's not just pretty paint and it's not just shiny stainless steel. It's the guts, what's underneath, what's powering the machine, how does it make the driver and the passengers feel, what's the level of comfort as far as sound, noise, vibration, harshness, all that sort of thing. What happens with performance use, off-road use? Is the thing going to shake apart? What about certain vibrations that come through the cabin? What about abuse and rare edge case scenarios? What happens to that vehicle down the road? The engineers have to think of everything, and that's what's all perfectly packaged underneath the skin of the vehicle. And that's what we're able to see here at Munro when they've got all these vehicles torn down. So let's take a look at the next vehicle. All right, guys, come with me. I'm going to show you what Munro has done here. They've torn apart the Cybertruck, and these are all of the components that comprise this legendary, revolutionary vehicle. Look, here's the roll-up tonneau cover. Some of these pieces are recognizable, but we've got pieces of the bumper fascia inlay. We've got all of the Alcantara trim pieces. We've got motor casings here. We have the doors with the interior trim panels. We've got front suspension control arms. We've got CV joints, drive shafts. Look at this, is the entire brake assembly. Look at the size of the caliper here. And then we have the gigantic air shocks, the power motors for steering for front and rear steer. Look at the sub-assemblies here, this beautiful extruded aluminum. Back here we have the entire dash assembly, and then of course we can see the famous squircle. I gotta wash my hands. I'm getting dirty here at Munro Live. Look at this. Do you guys remember these from high school? Look at, oh my gosh, it's got powdered soap. Amazing. Keeping it clean at Munro Associates. All right, so I don't know what's going on, but I was just flying the drone and I just saw that there's like 6 or 7 cop cars that just pulled up out front, an ambulance or a fire truck, maybe 2 fire trucks. Let's go see what's going on. Did you guys hear what happened?
What?
All these cop cars and fire department?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like,
No,
there was like 7 cop cars here. I was just flying the drone.
Are they electric ones too? Is that what this is?
I don't know. There's fire department here. Well, there's a Cybertruck across the road there that pulled in.
Oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
There's a kid in the tree. Huh? There's a kid in the tree.
Climb the tree?
Yes.
In the tree, yeah.
Oh, and he can't get out?
Doesn't want to or stuck wants to.
Oh, okay. Unreal. You guys need one of these on the force.
Well, apparently we do if it helps us do what we just did to get the kid out of the tree.
Hey, there you go. So what happened? He came down because he didn't want to get out of the tree and.
Wanted to see the truck.
Wow.
There's a facility across the street.
Yeah.
That, he walked away from.
Oh.
Yeah, the nurses got him over here and he climbed the tree.
Okay.
But yeah, he saw the truck and that was enough of a promise for him to come down.
Amazing.
Yep, fair enough.
Good ending to the story.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, there you go, guys. That's a really happy ending to a story that was a young guy that is not well, climbed the tree, refused to get down from the tree. So one of the guys here from the Munro event brought his Cybertruck over, and they were able to coax the kid out of the tree to come down and check out the Cybertruck. So huge shout out to the Auburn Hills Fire and Rescue team here, the paramedics that were on site, and of course, the first responder police. What a great, happy ending. And again, we got the hero right here, the Cybertruck. Wow, what a cool vehicle. All right, guys, we're out front here at Munro Associates. It's been an incredible turnout today with so many awesome people from so many different states. We got people here from Canada. We got people here from multiple states, all the way down to where I just came from in Texas and everywhere in between. So it's been awesome. But I just wanted to give a big shout out to the Tesla Owners Club of Michigan, who's here out front. They brought cookies and treats and all kinds of good stuff. And such a great turnout here for the community. They've got some really cool upcoming events. So if you're from the Michigan area, be sure to check out their website. I'll put a link for it right here. You can check it out and pay them a visit.
So we're pretty optimistic about the future of gigacasting, and this style of body build, I think, will become more and more popular as we go forward.
Send it. Excellent. Thank you. John, let's give John a big round of applause. By the way, no one in the die casting industry was interested in getting into what Elon wanted to make because, after all, he's just some crackpot crazy living in California. These guys, on the other hand, they stepped up to the plate, and that's what's really amazing. Now, how many people here have heard about the fact that these castings can't withstand a crash? Or if they did get in a crash, you can't repair them because it's impossible. Anybody heard that? Yeah, okay, so that's another load of BS. So you see this is a 12-pound sledge, okay? You don't fool around with this. This is for making big concrete or adjusting beams, okay? And I took this and I whacked that shock tower, okay? And when I hit it, I don't know if you can see it all, but I can take my baby finger now and stick it right inside. One hit. This car is ruined. I can't fix this. If I pull this up and just call it a day, this is going to, eventually, it's going to start to oil can, and you're going to lose control of your car because it'll break right along, probably between these three components right here. This is a stress riser, these holes. It'll break right in there. Now, you have to have a comparison, of course. I took the same damn hammer, and Eric said, you have to wait a while because whacking that must have taken a shitload of energy out of you, old man. So I did wait a while, and then I hit this one. I rubbed the paint off. Now, I want you to think, and I mean this sincerely, every time you hear somebody making a comment about castings or electric vehicles, think. I'm an engine engineer, okay? That was what I was trained at. And you'll see my engines kind of made a lot of They're pretty good. Al's going to probably maybe talk to you a little bit more about that. But our engines that we've designed or had part of the designs have won all kinds of awards. I never made one of those engines, or even considered one of those engines, using anything but a casting. Can you imagine a sheet metal engine? So when you hear these people talk, what you have to do is don't listen to what they said. Well, you can listen to what they said, but then go deep, because almost everything is a line dedicated to trying to blow EVs off the map. And the reason for that is really simple. It's all about money.
Yep.
Does Tesla advertise? No. They don't pay the ransom, so they get the blood. And that's how it really works, ladies and gentlemen. So at the end of the day, all this, all that, and this mess here, all of it is getting us to the point where the car is going to become the most useful component in your house. You'll be able to do everything with it. And as far as safety is concerned, to crack or crash one of these castings basically would mean that, so I've already done a study. If I could make it so that I could break through, there's an extension on here called a crush beam. If it got through that crush beam and cracked that, let me show you over here what that would mean. That same amount of force would crush that into here.
Wow.
Okay? Now, do you hear that from the local guy with TV, you know, the local TV guy with big teeth and a big smile or a big sad face? Do you hear that from him? No. Why? Because he is not an engineer. Mm-hmm. So, okay, you, who else is young enough to become, you, well, I'm not sure about your age. But anyways, I thought there was more kids here. But at the end of the day, this is where you want to be, because engineers are needed. And everybody knows, right, that AI is a little different. Do we need a lawyer when there's AI? No, you can go online right now and get anything you want created in any way you want. We already have it. Lawyers aren't going to be. What about writers? Oh no, I don't think so. I mean, I can ask for one of my quotes to be in a style of Chaucer, like that's a long time ago, 1400s. All these other different? Do I need an accountant? Why? All I do is give the numbers to the AI program, and here's all my tax stuff done. Period. At the end of the day, there's going to be a big shrinkage in things that are really important now, but in the future won't be important at all. So I'm giving these talks to try and coax kids into the trades, into STEM, because AI will not fix your plumbing. AI will never wire your house. You have to think of the future, and you have to think about where the future is going to take us. So I'm going to, yes, sir.
Question before we go. When these kids are driving in 15 or so years, especially with die casting, where do you see the future technology leading?
Actually, this is going to hang around for quite some time. Yeah. The center sections and whatnot, where you see those longitudinals, those are probably going to be moving toward a die casting of some sort. By the way, one thing that I didn't mention, and I don't think John did either, this thing is shot. How fast do you think the metal makes it? How fast do you think I fill up that mold? How much? Less than a second. Less than a second, correct. Yeah, this is really wicked fast. And the reason that you want it that fast is because there's no induced stresses. This comes out T6. I'm for those of you who are engineers, this is like magic, okay? And this is the future. And I see this starting with cars, but I'm also seeing what can I do with this for an aircraft? What can I do in the aircraft industry? Right now, we'll take something that's maybe 2 meters by 2 meters and machine it down to something that'll be maybe a meter by a meter with some hogging in the center. We don't probably need to do that in the future. In the future, we may be able to build machines, die casting machines, that'll go into aerospace and get rid of a tremendous amount of extra machining and whatnot, and heat treat and on and on and on, in order to create product that can go directly into aircraft.
Sandy, what was Elon's response when you told him that was garbage?
Actually, initially he was really pissed. Saw that. And actually, he said it several times in different interviews that Munro and Associates, or Sandy Munro, is a good operation, and we've we took advice from him, and he threw rocks at the rear end of our car, and the next thing you know, we had die castings. So he gave us credit for that.
He deserved rocks.
Yeah, that's right. He did say that. It's the different interviews have different words, but in essence, he gave us credit for that and a couple of other things that we recommended he don't do anymore.
Yeah. Chinese OEMs are already implementing this
Absolutely.
technology as well.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
As we know, Sandy, the majority of the OEMs are somewhere around 5 years behind Tesla right now. Including the Japanese and everybody else. The Chinese are a lot more aggressive, but at the end of the day, the Chinese are largely copying what exists rather than creating new solutions. But one of the materials for the future I heard you guys talking about will certainly be magnesium alloys, be more utilized as we go forwards. The biggest problem we have right now is trying to form these very large castings with magnesium alloys. It freezes much faster than aluminium, and so our biggest problem is filling the tool before the liquid material is already solid.
Yeah.
Why magnesium versus aluminum? Is it the
Lighter.
Yeah, it's about 30% the weight
Yeah.
of this casting.
Right.
If
It's
you made the same casting in mag, it would be 1/3 the weight.
Wow.
Not only that, magnesium soaks up vibration much better than aluminum does. So it's got a lot of things that are in the right direction. And what we're probably going to be seeing is thixotropic molding. That's what that's one of the names. It has a whole bunch of names, but thixotropic molding for me, and that means that basically you heat it up to like butter that will hold its shape, but it's easy to cut. That's what you start with, and then you shove it in under a whole lot of pressure. And actually, Idra's working on something like that too.
What is the limit for, can we do one massive casting like a Matchbox car? Like, we hear kind of like that was Elon's inspiration, is this thing just sitting on the desk and saying, why can't we do that?
Yeah.
Because right now we have 3 pieces, right? For the Model Y, the rear, center, and then the rear front casting.
Yeah, I mean, the concept of producing a whole body shell in a single casting has many limitations, and one of which is the economy of the process, right? Cost of actually creating a machine. We worked together with Tesla to work on this. It was a blue sky thinking scenario, and okay, what could we do to produce a machine that would produce the entire body in one shot? And the bigger problem is the economy of scale. It's so expensive to do so that it doesn't really make good sense. And, one of the things that we like to do, and Sandy and I have spoken about this quite a lot, guys, is that the analogy of this in the real world today is the analogy of smartphones compared to Nokia, compared to BlackBerry, right? Smartphones came in and just wiped out those products completely. And this is the first time that Sandy's been around 1 or 2 years longer than I have in the automotive trade. But we've never seen this kind of change taking hold so quickly in the industry before. So realistically, I think what we're going to end up seeing is we're going to see an adaptation of this technology to many of the OEMs that want to make a different way of making a vehicle. It's not the only solution, and I think that's really important. I think some of the OEMs get super wrapped up on this idea that, this is the only solution that we can do. No, it's a process, and we can use it for some vehicles, it's good. For other vehicles, maybe it's not so good, right? So essentially, we will continue down this route. We will develop these, and eventually we're going to lighten the vehicle more. I mean, the end result here is to have a fully autonomous vehicle that you don't even need to own anymore. You'll use your Uber app and your car. You pay a subscription every month, and you just put it in, and the car will take you where you need to go, and then you walk away from the car. You don't need a garage. You don't need a mechanic. You don't need to park this vehicle anymore. You'll just pay your subscription fee and the thing will drive you around. We're almost there, but not quite. This is always like, it's like everything in life, right? It's a collaborative process. If I stand here and said, oh, yeah, I invented everything, it would just be BS. Okay? At the end of the day, it's a collaborative process. They tell us what we want to do. The Germans tell us it's impossible. The Italians take it and go, are you sure it's impossible? We could do this. Let's give it a go.
And make it look good.
And make it look pretty at the same time. Hey, that's what we have to do. So the reality is trying to take a casting that theoretically should require a 15 or a 20,000 ton machine and making it work on a 9,000 ton machine, that's where the skill lies.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where the Tesla engineers were particularly good.
Sorry, how much more expensive would magnesium be if you guys are going in that direction than aluminum?
Well, this is one of the difficulties today, is that we've got no mag, right? It's all in China. So this is a problem right now. It's recyclable in the same way that the aluminum is recyclable. The problem is that it was very popular in the late 90s Canada group, the Meridian group, based out of just below London, Strathroy, you know. They implemented a cross-beam, the instrument panel, in mag, right? And that was hugely successful. It was a wonderful properties, it had sound deadening properties, it absorbed impacts, it would hurt you in the event of a crash. The problem is that the cost of buying and reforming the magnesium was too high, to the point where pretty much all of the manufacturers have largely abandoned magnesium as a material, just using it in certain spots. So one of the things that we're trying to do right now, and also there was a big fear, by the way, for those of you that did college and university, you know, burning magnesium strip, okay? The castings do not burn like that, but there is this large fear that they will. And in London, or just outside London, magnesium had, Meridian had a major fire around about 20 years ago now, something like that. And it just went, everyone, look, see, I told you. And it more or less just killed the whole idea, right? So realistically now we're in a situation where the biggest fear is no longer having magnesium in the vehicle. The biggest fear now is having a lithium battery right underneath your posterior, which we're a lot more worried about lithium batteries burning today than we are about a magnesium casting that doesn't actually burn, but hey, maybe it could if you get it up to about 1,000 degrees. Yeah, it'll burn, right? But so will aluminium.
Yeah.
So essentially here, guys, the point is that the magnesium is an ideal material, but we've got a lot of work to drive it forwards, and it's not a material that's readily available in the Western Hemisphere, which is a problem.
And with that happy note, we were just talking about batteries, so I'm going to shift your gears and get you to look straight over there. How many people want to buy a Porsche Taycan? Don't. Okay, so that basically sums up the Porsche Taycan presentation here today. So let's move down here. Now,
I didn't know we get violent, Sandy, today.
No, we just took it apart. We took one of these apart. We analyzed pretty much everything inside and came up snake eyes. It's just not smart. I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they put the B team on it. Doesn't really matter. There's nothing there that I can point at and say, oh, I really love this, because I did. So these are bought for a whole different bunch of reasons, and I don't really understand them. Psychology is not my forte. So let's talk about some of the other vehicles that are sitting in here. I'm going to talk about the Ford Lightning, because this has kind of been pushed as a Cybertruck show, but I will tell you, that product, if I was in construction, this is the one I want. I'm not here to polish, anybody's image or whatever. And I know Ford, like everybody else, has little problems, but that, from a construction standpoint, is brilliant. If you want a car or a truck and you're in construction or something like that, this is the deal. This thing has lights all over the place, got power galore. You can plug it in and turn it into your own basic work area. It's got everything you could possibly want. If you're into construction and you've ever picked up a 90-pound bag of concrete. Look at that. It's perfect size. So I say a lot about this truck. I can tell you though, don't really buy one this year, because next year there's a new version of this coming out, and it's got a whole bunch of improvements. Over here you can see all of the bits and pieces that are inside of that vehicle. Almost everything is still here. We haven't thrown out too much on the Lightning because there's a lot of stuff in there that makes sense. This one is the Mach-E. Now, how many people got the chance to go and look at the Ford Mach-E rally outside? Anybody see that? That's a whole lot better than this one was. This is my second favorite automotive brand. The Mach-E goes plenty fast. Blue Cruise is nowhere near where full self-driving is, but it's the close second, it's not even close, but it is second. And the reason I like this is because this is a lot more comfortable all the way around. It also has more volume in it than a Model Y. If you want the real deal, a Model Y is pretty hard to beat, but if you want to not spend as much money, this comes in second. And there's a lot of talk about what Tesla's going to be doing in the future, what Tesla's going to do in the future with selling their full self-driving. And I'm pretty sure that Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Ford, and several others, maybe even a German company or two, may want to get into that. And if they do, that at full self-driving would make a very difficult decision for me to move from, do I want a Model Y or do I want a Mach-E? And the Rally looks quite nice inside, for those who didn't get a chance to see it. So what I want to do is I want to reintroduce Doug Peterson. And Doug has worked on some of the componentry for this, but he's worked a lot more on the stuff for Tesla. This is the guy that you'd go through, or his company, Three-Dimensional Services is the company that most of us know about. If you need to have it done right, and done on time, at a cost that won't break the bank, this is the guy that owns that company. So what I'd like to do is maybe let you talk to you about some of the equipment. I'd like you to talk about the new machines that you've got for milling spars and whatnot for aircraft. But anyways, I'd like to let him tell you a little bit about what it is that Three-Dimensional can do, and I'm hoping that he can relate it a little bit to what went on here with the Rivian.
Yeah.
Doug?
So Three-Dimensional Services is a company that can make 10,000, 30,000 of these different components. It can be a seat, it could be an engine cradle. Rivian makes a great product, but they came to us several years ago and said, we're doing these aluminum extrusions for the battery tray support and structure, which was great because we were looking for work at the time, and they said, and we have big German 5-axis mills, very large, and they said, can you machine these extrusions because there's no way to punch? So we looked at it and we said, yeah, of course, but they want volume. This is not 10 or 20. This is day after day after day. And oh, by the way, if you could do the assembly, if you could do the stir welding and give us a finished product, that would really be awesome. I said, of course we can do that. So we quote the project, and there's a little negotiation about price and delivery and all of that, of course. But we're awarded. Now there are several other people that are doing this, but they're asking us to do large volume. So we take that and we're looking at this and we go, wow, this is a lot of work. We're going to be milling. You get little burrs, milling aluminum sometimes, and punching through with an end mill or a drill. It's problematic, and it's not real fast. But one of our fellows was like, okay, we have these very large Trump laser systems that are automated, we could laser cut these hundreds of holes, not a few holes, hundreds of holes, laser cut, laser trim most of these areas. We'll still have to go to the mills, but we can do 85, 90% of this work with these Trump lasers. So we get into production. Takes us a few weeks to get fixtures and get going, and they come and visit us, and they see what we're doing. They're going, wait a minute, I thought you were going to machine these. We're laser machining these. Because they realized you're doing this way faster than anybody else, way cheaper than anybody else, except the equipment is very expensive. But our output was over the top. So yeah, they were looking at us sideways a little bit. But then when we said, well, we can do as many of these as you need, and our quality was spot on. And some of the extrusions back then weren't very straight, so we would straighten them before we would even start. So, a little entrepreneurship goes a long way. And we produced a lot of battery systems that would have been very difficult any other way. But metal stamping is what we do. That's at least a third of our business, if not more. So, and assembly, we do a lot of assembly. Stir welding, we tried to convince them to go to laser welding. Stir welding, it's like you could take a nap while this is going on. Laser welding, okay, get ready because it's going to be done in just a few seconds. We have a little aerospace side of our company. We have 7 different buildings. We're buying an 8th building right now. So we machine on a horizontal mill. There's a Starog machine and a Bavius machine, and these are strictly for machining aluminum, structural, aerospace, billets of aluminum. One of our projects was 5,000-pound plate of aluminum, machine it down to 250 pounds. Now, we missed the quote on this, so we're going to go back soon for more money, but it doesn't seem possible to start off with 5,000 pounds and ship 250 pound part. So those are the kind of projects that really not that many people can really do. And we're aggressive. We're aggressive on our timing. We're aggressive on our pricing. We can, matrix all of our costs and all of our times. There's no secrets. We don't, you have to pay the piper. If you want to get this stuff done, you want to get it done quickly, which is most of our customers. You're interested, right? They want to give this to someone. And so we make it tough to give it to someone else. And we have a lot of this equipment. So the Starog horizontal mill, it has 1.5 meters on the Y and it's 4 meters on the X. In 1 minute, when you're hogging material away, which is what we do quite a bit, just cut as much material off as fast as you can, it's 50 pounds a minute of aluminum. Our biggest problem are chips. What in the heck do you do with all these chips? If it's not the chips, it's the coolant. Too much coolant, too little coolant. The machining part of it, I don't want to say is straightforward, but that's really not the problem. It's chips. We end up with just huge volumes of chips. And we have equipment coming that's going to push this into little bricks. So it'll be far less problematic. But we're in production with these 2 machines, and we have 3 other machines also coming this year. This is going to be a big part of our business going forward. There's a lot of interest in this, and we're so busy, we're not even looking for other customers. We're just trying to keep the customers we have happy. But Rivian, they make a great product. We do work with them kind of on and off. I wouldn't say that we're their first guys that they would go to for something, but we're definitely on the list of we've got a problem and we need help.
Can you mention a little about Tesla? I know you kind of skirted around that stuff.
Yeah, well, Tesla is a phenomenal company. We've worked with them for quite a few years. It's a good size part of our business. We can stamp battery trays for them. We've produced, I would say, about 80,000 battery trays for them. But that would be just for one vehicle. We've done 2 or 3 other vehicles, and assembly is usually involved, whether that's spot welding or welding of sorts. They're amazing. They make a lot of changes, and my business is making a few pieces of like a battery tray, and then they say, okay, you've made 50, we made changes. You made 100, we made changes. You made 500, we made changes. Now we need thousands. Ooh, okay. We can use the same tool for quite a while, or we can make a real production tool and make 80,000. So, but they're just, Tesla is a company that everybody is thinking. They question our quotes all the time. Okay, let's go right down line by line. And I mean, they always win. They're the customer, but we give them a hard time a little bit. We're not rolling over for sure. But I bought a Model S in 2015. I drove a Volt before that. I live in Florida, and when it's 95 outside and you don't want to use the battery on the Volt for air conditioning, you go to eco air conditioning. So you're sweating as you're driving along to try to get 40 miles or 30 miles. So, but the Model S really was amazing, and that's all I've purchased since. They're gonna rule the world.
Yeah. Somebody just asked me a question about how can we get out of the nasty situation that we're in. Well, I believe that the only person who can make something happen is Elon Musk.
Yeah.
It won't be a president. It won't be some government clown, and it's certainly not going to be somebody from Wall Street or Harvard. It's going to be Elon Musk. So, for me, and
the men and women that go to work every day and bust their butts, because we have 550 of those people working with very high tech, the best machines available. That's going to make a difference.
And that's what I was just going to say. We have the talent here in the United States. When Elon Musk needs something, he doesn't necessarily run off to China. He doesn't necessarily run down to Mexico to get whatever's cheap. He invests here as well, and three-dimensional services is a good example. So now I have to move them on.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move down here.